everyone. We are from Happiness Initiative. We are from Singapore. And on behalf of ourselves and Life Vest Insight, we are wishing everyone a happy World Kindness Week. And welcome to this presentation on kindness. Does it make us into happier individuals? My name is Simon.
And I'm Sherman.
And we are co-founders of Happiness Initiative. And thank you for spending time to listen to this presentation. Happiness Initiative is a social enterprise in Singapore that translates the science of happiness into well-being into actions that people can take. So let's talk a bit about the origin of this word kindness, right? When we do a Google search on kindness, kindness actually is spelled with a K-Y-N-D-N-E-S in Old English. And it means nation, produce, and increase. And we can understand why, because, even though as the word has evolved into Middle English and into our modern day language, right, the meaning of kindness would also means that it could bring a big group of people together. It benefit a big group of people. It would also means that people would be able to share certain things that they have produced, and it is also has the meaning of increase instead of being lesser. So it's very interesting that the meaning of kindness, even though it has evolved, but there is such deep meaning of it from Old English. Now let's go back to even before this Old English, right? Where did kindness come from? In Greek mythology, between like 3000 to 1100 BC, kindness is related to this Greek goddess called Charis. And what's the meaning of Charis? It means grace, kindness, and life. And kindness was recognized as a trait befitting of a god, even at this very early stage of human history. So when someone is kind, it means that these are very god-like features. And how does kindness affect happiness, and how does happiness affect kindness? We, through our research, we realize happy people are more likely to be kinder and therefore happier. So we see that there is this virtuous cycle. Happier people are kinder and kinder people are happier. But where do we start first? Do we start by being happier first, or do we start by being kinder first? I will let Sherman talk about it in a moment's time, that even though it's a virtuous cycle, right, where if there's one point that we want to start, where should we start? There's one very simple way that we can cultivate a lot more kindness by counting our kindness. So by keeping track of our daily kind behavior, right, that would help us to be more kinder and even more grateful. So there is one study there that we left it there for you to check it out. But now I'm going to pass the time now to Sherman to perhaps discuss with us, right? If in this virtuous cycle between kindness and happiness, where do we start first?
Yeah. So the next part, I think we talk about how does kindness affect our happiness, and I think there's a lot of research that shows that the relationship between these two domains, right? So for one, if you perform kind activities, right, it tends to make you happier, and again, it's proportional. So the more kind acts that you do, you tend to report a higher increase in happiness, right? And this is not a standalone study, because after that there are many meta studies that shows that actually kindness really does improve the well-being of the giver, right? And even further studies will show that both the person that gives the kindness and the person that receives the kindness both benefit in terms of well-being, both in the long term and the short term, right? And kindness also, acts of kindness also inspires other people to act kindly as well. So it's kind of like a ripple effect, right? If you're kind to someone else, that person tends to also be kinder to others, right? And it also reinforces our own behaviors in that sense, right? That's why kindness is a very important thing to do.
Yeah. So we can also understand that, in Old English, kindness is also related to nation, right? And produce and increase. And we can see where is that coming from? Because when we are kind to other people will become kind to more, more other people, and that has that increased effect. Yeah. So thanks, Sherman, for sharing that with us.
Yeah. And there are also interestingly a lot of physical benefits that come with being kind. I think that for one, it definitely releases the feel good hormones, serotonin, dopamine, oxy, oxytocin, right? And also endorphins, right? And I think these are hormones that we all know about because a lot of us tend to know it as the happy hormones. If you secrete all these hormones, you tend to be happier. Yeah, and also it reduces our anxiety levels, right? Because you have a lot more positive emotion when you perform kindness on others. Yeah, and interestingly, it also helps to alleviate certain illnesses such as inflammation, right? And this study was done where they look at kindness from the perspective of volunteering. That means helping others, doing volunteering at different places and whatnot. Yeah, and lastly, it also helps to reduce stress levels because being kind helps to build strong relationships with others, and in turn, when you have a stronger relationship with the people around you, you tend to be less stressed out. Yeah. And I guess we end off by asking this question. So how then can we practice kindness in that sense? Right. So for one, it's really volunteerism, and volunteering is a very wide spectrum. It doesn't just have to be volunteering at non-profit organizations or what. You could also volunteer for events. You can volunteer based on the skill sets that you have and certain organizations lack. You can provide certain services that organizations need. And sometimes you'll be very surprised at what a lot of organizations lack in terms of help and in terms of manpower. So there's a lot of ways that you could volunteer and contribute back to society. Yeah, another way is very simply offering kind words to people, giving compliments to others. And I think this is a technique that I think a lot of us often underestimate because we always think that, what's the point? We just say one kind word, does it really make a difference? But I think that sometimes saying kind words and giving compliments to others really can change someone's day. It can make someone's day turn from a bad day to a good day. Yeah, smiling is also a good way because smiling also helps to improve your positive emotion. And although sometimes it may seem fake, like you just smile for the sake of smiling, but by smiling for the sake of smiling, in turn, it makes the smile generally become a lot more natural. Yeah, and also it's important to be a good listener and listen to people because a lot of times, a lot of us have a lot of things pent up emotions within ourselves, and I think that having someone that could listen without trying to interject or interrupt and really just genuinely listening to our stories, I think that is a very powerful way of practicing kindness. Yeah, and sometimes it's also very simple ways like just letting others go in front of you in the grocery queue. Yeah.
And for those who are drivers, right, I myself included, one very simple kind act that we can do is just let someone cut in front of you, or just giving way to another car who happen to signal and need to get into your way. So this is just a very, very simple kind act that we can do. And kindness is a language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. And with that, we wish everyone once again a very happy World Kindness Week. Thank you for listening. We are Simon and Sherman from Happiness Initiative from Singapore.
Thank you. Bye-bye.